Welcome to the Sports Card Talk Show. Sports Card Talk Show with Kevin Anderson and Lauren Walker, the Skol Brothers.
Welcome to episode 86 of the Sports Card Talk Show. We're going to do a little Friday Night Lights conversation more tonight.
Yeah.
And who's coming on tonight?
We have Finn at Soulbrothacards on Instagram. I don't know if this is going to be an ongoing deal with Finn.
I think we talked about it. Yeah, we're going to do special little editions, I guess, and this is the comps edition.
Yeah. So for you YouTubers who aren't on Instagram, Finn always makes great posts and discusses, those things that we all like to either that we like about the hobby or that we hate about the hobby. And today we're doing the comps edition. So
yeah,
and
should be interesting.
Yeah, I've got some opinions. I'm interested to hear his. So
should we get him on the line?
Ringling ding dong.
All right, we got Finn on the line. Soulbrothacards on Instagram. Thanks for joining us.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, man, it's been a little while. We've been talking about doing something, and we're finally let's do it, man.
I know, and I think we had an aborted attempt.
Yeah, we had to rethink about how we're gonna do this. Basically, what we've been thinking about doing is having a special correspondent, so to speak, or having you come on and you'd have such great Instagram posts. We're like, man, that make for great content. Let's do something, man. And you were nice enough to join us, so we appreciate it.
I'm always happy to be on the show.
We were talking about, I don't know if we discussed it with you, but we were throwing names back and forth about what we could call. We were thinking about calling you Soulbrotha or.
Yeah, I mean, I always refer to you guys as Skol Brothers.
Yeah. Oh man, so yeah, that's fun. So I think we decided that we're gonna start this little thing with we're gonna do with comps, and if you want to take the reins, and kind of talk about it a little bit. I don't know if you want to get into what made you think about it and post about it, or however you want to do it, man. We'll start there.
I mean, I think comps is something that everyone ends up running into at some point very early in the hobby. Yeah. And it's something that, I don't know, on its face it should seem simple. What did something sell for last? But with the way eBay works and the way the market works and everything, it's not that simple. And yeah, there's been a lot of things on Instagram that I've seen, and certain ones specifically that made me think about comps in a different way and how people use them, or you could say abuse them, or you know what I mean, and manipulate them to either get better value for their cards or worse value for their cards. I mean, what are your guys' experience? Like when you hear the word comps, do you have a negative or a positive reaction or a neutral? You know what I mean? What do you guys?
I feel like as a consumer, if you're buying a card, you should research it. Don't look at the last one that was sold. Look at a history of a good chunk. Take out, if you know anything about statistics, you kind of kick out the highest one and the lowest one, or go with the median kind of, and that's how you figure out things. As far as like someone saying that let's say it's a $200 or best offer, and they're using that as their comp because it's sold. Yeah. Do you know how to filter that out to figure out not the exact selling price, but kind of the whereabouts it kind of sells? Where
sportscards.com will show you
the actual eBay selling,
the actual price, and it'll show you what the best offer price, and sometimes they're significantly lower. Like I've seen ones that have been like a third of what the actual listing price was.
Will you say what that site was called one more time? Because it kind of cut out.
Sportscards.com.
Sportscards.com.
They get that data from eBay then, or what?
I guess. I think that the data is available on eBay, just not on their mobile.
Okay,
I think on the computer there's a way to find that information directly on eBay.
See, what I've done, like I have not seen an exact price on a best offer card, but if you go and you look at recent items sold, and then you filter it as highest price to lowest price.
Oh yeah, it'll put it where it actually sold.
Yeah. So you won't get an exact, but let's say it's a $200 card, and it'll drop somewhere between the $150 and the $130 card. So you know that's what they sold it for.
If you go to sportscards.com, it'll give you exact. And if you Flipper Tools, if you just take the URL and you put it into theirs, it'll always show you just for that one specific one. If you just want to look up one card, you know, like you can just take that eBay URL and put it into their URL thing.
Sure.
And it'll pop out the actual sold price of it.
When I first started getting back into collecting, and I was kind of new to eBay, I'd always be like, "Hey, Lauren, how is this for a price?" And he's like, "Well, what did it last sell for?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I'm like, there are 10 of them at this price. And he's like, no, what did it sell for? So I didn't even know that you could filter it by sold and completed. So as a new collector, maybe, you know, you don't even realize that you can.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people.
I have people ask me all the time, like, well, what's the value of this? Like, I couldn't find any or whatever. And I'm like, there's like 3 recently sold on eBay. I'm like, can I find this?
Yeah. Yeah. So as somebody that was new, that was interesting to me that you could actually see the sold and completed, which kind of goes back to they're just putting up what they're up for sale for, you know? It's not what it actually sold for.
I also feel like people don't search eBay very efficiently. Like, I feel like, they'll type in very specific, either like over specific search terms, and it cuts out a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll search like the broadest thing ever, cleat. Type in the word cleat into my thing. I'll go from 3 million to like a pretty manageable like 400 just by filtering it down to football cards. Mm-hmm. You know, and so it's every football card that's tagged with cleat, you know, or shoe. Because like I want to look for, say, game worn cleat cards or game worn shoe cards. You know what I mean? And it's like, so I always try to give it the broadest search term possible. Mm-hmm. And it also helps when looking up comps. You know, you can find the broadest amount of ones that sold when you're looking up comps. And you sometimes also though, that can be something that's misleading for being the price too low. If something's listed way too specifically, then people aren't going to find it either. Or if it's listed wrong, or if it's, you know what I mean? If there's something missing in the listing. Like I saw a listing the other day that hold up. Here I can show. Well, I don't know if they can see it on the screen, but this is a Kyler Murray retail blue.
Oh, yep.
That's like a $200+ card. They listed it as a Kyler Murray red, white, blue rookie card rare. Well, they were right, it's rare. And they sold it for $30.
Oh. Did you buy it for $30?
Just gonna say.
Fortunately, I was not me. I saw it on sold listings. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but when I saw it, I was like, oh my God.
I just ran into that recently where they plugged the wrong person in, and it was actually a different card. And in the description, it had the right card, but in the listing, it was a different player. And I'm like, oh, that's a huge difference because I wish I could remember the player. I can't remember right now, but it was a football player, and it was like, I want to say it was a Kyler Murray card, but it was listed as somebody else's card.
Oh, okay.
Huge price difference.
But I always wonder about that too, though. Like, are they trying to like put one over on you? Because then, like, whatever, you know what I mean? They're like, well, I wrote in the description that this is what it was. You're the one that chose to bid that much on the wrong picture.
Yeah, I mean? Maybe I described that wrong. The picture was of Kyler Murray. I'm pretty sure it was him. But the description, or like the right under the picture, it was a different player. But in the actual, when you went down to the description, it actually said Kyler Murray. You were bidding on the Kyler Murray card. Yeah. So if you were searching for him, you wouldn't have found that card because it was listed under a different player.
Yeah, like I found one. I was looking up 2019 Select stuff, and I found a Christian McCaffrey 2018 Select with his name spelled wrong, the wrong year. And then something else spelled wrong too. They never wrote autograph or auto or anything in there.
Oh.
And it sold pretty cheap, like at least like $20 cheaper than I think the card would have sold otherwise. But that's how comps can always be tricky, you know. And I'll see cards sell for more on bid than there's buy it now ones available.
I think you run into that, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if specifically Probst Teen and PWCC listings.
Yep, I never bid on those.
I do. I watch. I've actually won. I win, and like Probst Teens will allow you like 10 days to try to win more cards. And I'm like, I use up all 10 of those days hoping I can win something else to save on shipping. And sometimes I'll like spend a little bit more money on a card, like just because, you know, every card is going to cost you $4 to ship. So that raises your max bid up a little bit. But
shipping and taxes is really it adds up on eBay.
Yeah. So yeah, if I watch people bid up, especially back when I was going after Chris Carter 89 score rookie cards. They would go for I was getting them for around $15-20 a piece, like grade 10s and BGS 9.5s. And people would list them at that, and then you'd watch Probst Teens, and they'd be going for $30-35. And you're going, what are you people doing? It's like the only people do they only have Probst Teens or PWCC as their favorite seller, and that's the only person they search? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I got one from Probst Teen 123. I think I bought one from them one time, but it was cheap. It was like a Jordan Matthews gold vinyl when I first started like getting on eBay, and I don't know, like cool gold vinyl. It was like $8.
Mm-hmm.
I think is what it finished out on bid. So that was like probably the lowest I've ever seen any of their cards ever sell.
Right.
I never see any of their cards sell that low, but I was the buyer of it.
Yeah, it is hard to win. Like I know when we were doing mail times early in our show's history, I'd be like, oh, a rare Probst Teens win. And I mean, it seemed like I would do that every couple of weeks or mail times, but it'd have like one card in it.
Yep.
Because I couldn't win a second. But
So how much weight do you put on when you're looking at a card, how much weight do you put on the comps? I mean,
it depends on my urgency. It depends on a lot of factors for me. I mean, my urgency to sell it. Mm-hmm. If somebody's just hitting me up out of the blue saying, like, I want this card, and it's a card I really don't want to sell, but if you cash me out, I would, then very little credence do I put on the comps. You know, a little bit, just to get a general value range, and then I'll multiply that, you know, because I don't want to sell it. But I make that very clear to the person as well. Yeah. That I have no interest in selling this for anywhere near what I paid for it.
Right.
Hey, Finn, that's something that, you know that I like my eBay 101s, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's been some cards that are on eBay that have been listed on eBay for like 3, 4, 5 years, like since I've been doing this, and I have them in a list, and these people will not come down from their price because it's the 1 of 100 of a Fran Tarkenton auto that I want. And you can literally get that card for about $35-40, but they want $100 for it. And I would pay a little bit more than that $35-40 to get the 1 of 100, but I'm not paying anywhere near $100 for that card. Nowhere near. You know,
well, then they're just playing themselves.
Yeah, and they're just gonna sit on that card forever and ever. And they have a best offer on it too. They're polite, which I like, because they're like, I really like the card, so I'm not gonna come that far down on it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll keep it in my watch list, and maybe I'll revisit it in the future. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and that's a nice thing about if you're dealing on eBay is, be polite to the seller. Yeah. If they're rude to you, they offer, I hate it whenever someone offers you back like, you offer them $40 for that $100 card and they come back with $99.99 or something.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
like,
you took my offer as an insult, although it's the comparable price for that card,
That's like that Black Rose. They won't accept. They say accept offers, but they don't accept offers. Yeah, they're not really budging, and they want, 10 times what the market value of the card. But they have some crazy, insane cards that they are the market for that card. And that's also another thing about comps is, if it's a card that has some sort of uniqueness to it that makes it desirable, then even if one a couple months ago sold for $100, then you should have bought that one.
Right.
Then that's it. It doesn't matter that one sold for $100. Whatever people are willing to pay for that next one. And there's times where I've definitely paid more than what I saw a last one sell for, because there might only be 10 of that card in existence. And so
it was your opportunity to get it.
Yeah. And so I'm going to take my opportunity, even if I have to pay an extra $20 or whatever, or even more, like I remember the Michael Thomas, Immaculate RPA I picked up.
Mm-hmm.
I vastly overpaid for it at the time. Vastly, and more than the last one, but all of the ones that were listed on eBay at the time were at like $300 OBO, and so like and there were few. It's the one that he signs with his pro jersey number. Number 30. Very few autos he signs that way, especially rookie patch autos. There's only 2 that I know of, that Immaculate and Impeccable. Mm-hmm. And Impeccable is very short print on their RPAs. So yeah, I vastly overpaid for the card, but it's actually worth a lot more than I paid for it then, because of the way Mike Thomas turned out.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also, I'm not the only one that wants the card, the RPA he signed with the number 13. So that specific card gained in value more than the rest of maybe Michael Thomas's Immaculate RPAs. So just because, I wasn't obviously the only one that would want to pay over comps for,
right,
to a comparable Immaculate RPA for that.
Right. Yeah, I think, don't know that I worry a whole lot about that, but I also don't buy very expensive cards personally. So I guess if I was going to start jumping up into a slightly more expensive card, I would think about checking the comps a little bit more, but yeah, I guess it's worth what I'm willing to pay, I guess.
Yeah.
In my book, it might go for more than that. I just passed on some Jarrett Culver cards because I had it in my mind what I wanted to spend, and I'm like, I wasn't even sure I wanted them, and it was at a price I would have bid on it, and I'm like, no, I don't want it, and I closed it out, and I looked, and it went for $15 more than what it was at, and I'm like, well, I wouldn't have won it anyways.
Yeah.
But I didn't even bother looking. I just knew that I wanted the 3 cards, and I'm just like, I don't want them that bad. So
do you guys use comps like when you talk to people on eBay? When you send in offers to people and stuff like that? Because I do sometimes.
I don't. I don't actually. If it turns into a dialogue, I probably have. But
yeah, I don't lead with it. I mean, God, I don't feel kind of like, this is what this one sold for. This is what this one sold for. You just sold to me at this price. No, it's not like that. But after I usually send my original offer, say like they send a counter back or whatever, then I'll be like, hey, this is why I sent you this price. I'm willing to go up to this price. These are what the past ones are selling for. I'm giving you a little bit of a premium off of, the last 2 bid sales. If you don't want to take it, so be it.
Yeah.
But I'm offering you.
Yeah. Like you said, I've when I put in an offer, it's like, we'll see how, just like you said, you put in an offer and you expect that the seller is aware of the value of the card as well. Mm-hmm. And I don't, if you got a best offer on eBay, I don't mind that you're trying to, price gouge a little bit and take advantage of.
Oh, for sure. Why for that? I have you're the one taking the risk by pricing it higher. You're the one taking the risk that less people are gonna look at and view your listing.
Yeah. Seasoned buyers aren't gonna buy your card, but or they're gonna put an offer in on it.
And also, sometimes, especially during Christmas time, women, wives, moms, or whatever, get on eBay to buy cards for their, whatever, and might end up clicking buy it now on something that, has a crazy buy it now price because they go, ooh, that's cool, that's pretty. You know what I mean? And
Finn is like ripping on the women.
No, not at all. If anything, it's a compliment to their kindness and generosity.
Okay.
Imagine if you went into imagine you went into the makeup store.
Oh gosh, dude.
And exactly. Well, see, you're not as good as the women who go onto the eBay to go browse cards.
Yeah.
But no, imagine if you walked into a makeup store and everything was marked at $300 and OBO or whatever. You know what I mean? And unbeknownst to you.
Well, that's just it.
All the women offer $150 less than the listing price, but you don't want to be a jerk when you walk into the store and you say, okay, well, can you give me $10 off that one? And then they say, okay. And then you buy it for $2.90 and you get home and your wife's like, well, I would have bought this for $150. You know what I mean? It's not against women, or it's just when people encounter marketplaces they're unfamiliar with. And women don't know what comps are, so they see something they might like for their husband or whatever, and they click buy it now. And
it kind of sounds like me with my kid and his guitars. I have no idea. Like if I go into he's like, I go into the musical round with my kid, and I'm like, oh, dude, look at that guitar. And my kid's like, that's it looks cool because it's got decals on it that like are like it's like somebody's signature guitar, which my kid pretty much thinks signature guitars are garbage because it's like some facsimile replica of that guy's guitar that some guitar companies pumping out.
Okay.
Several additions to it, but it's not the same. Like real guitar players, they'll change a lot of different things on their guitar to make it their custom guitar. My kid's like,
okay, yeah.
You wanna, everybody wants a Stratocaster or whatever, but there's specific guitars that my kid like will go in and look at. That,
okay, yeah, I know they're more personal too, and as you use them, they kind of almost shape to your body, and you get more comfortable with certain brands or certain types and.
Yeah, so I like now when it comes to guitar stuff, like everyone just gives him money to go buy what he wants at the guitar store,
Well, and that's how it is for me with cards.
Yep. Oh yeah. Cool, man. Well, I think we kind of covered the comps pretty well. There's obviously people that want to live and die by the comps and just do your homework, I guess, really,
Yeah, I see a lot of people that they act like they're gospel, like, but then usually those people will act like one comp is gospel and another comp is trash. Right. And it's like, actually, I thought that bid comp was a lot more indicative of what that card was worth. But
what's really out of whack is, let's say you got a short print card, like let's say it's out of 10 or 20 or something, and one hasn't been on eBay for a long time, so it comes up. It only takes two bidders that have been wanting that card for a long time to just hijack, jack that price out
for sure,
through the roof. So
for sure.
So I've always said the loser of that auction is actually the winner, because usually people take note of that and they're like, oh my goodness, I got one of those, and a few more will post after that. Yeah. And the loser will get it for far less than the winner just paid for, That
actually kind of happened with me recently with, do you guys know about the Dallas Goddard market?
I don't know. I know who Dallas Goddard is. He's a South Dakota state guy, but
Yeah.
but I don't know his market.
I think it's somebody that lives in South Dakota. I don't know. Maybe he works in the natural gas or whatever out there. But he spends like $500 on Dallas Goddard one-on-ones. Like,
Oh, wow.
excessive amounts of, like, Dallas Goddard. His highest end cards, like his cracked ices, sell for like $500. Sell for like more than like Miles Sanders, or like his ultra high end cards sell for silly prices. And his Immaculate 2019 Immaculate, they had game used material of his.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And hit the one of one Nike swoosh hit eBay a couple weeks ago. And I think it was either right before or right after, but the 1 to 10, I posted about yesterday. I actually found that Goddard to 10. A friend of mine found it and is going to send it to me. But the 1 to 10 was going to sell before and after that. Now, I think one had already sold on eBay a couple months before that for like $20. Well, the 1 to 10, since the guy decided to get the one of one, which sold for like $480. The 1 to 10 sold for like $120. And I think what's happened too is people have either, to mess with him, taken to bidding him up, or also see the opportunity of, if I can win it, say if something happens, he doesn't get a last minute bid in or whatever, maybe he didn't put in a high enough max, then I can win it and then sell it back to him.
Right.
For more money. So you'll notice in all of Dallas Goddard's highest end stuff, it sells for crazy money.
Okay.
Wow.
Dude, that's very similar with the Chris Carter market. There's a guy, I have a friend who lives out in Seattle who collects Chris Carter, and I knew his feedback score. So you look at the bid history and like, Chris is bidding on this card. I'd message him, hey Chris, you really want this card? He'd be like, I'm like, it's yours. I'm bowing out. He's like, I'm not going to win it anyway. Because there's this another Chris Carter fan that neither of us know who it is, but we know his feedback score, and it shows, his name shows up like 4 letters or I don't know how that feedback. It's like a few like maybe a letter, a few stars, and a letter, and then the feedback score. I think is how they hide bidders' names.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So it's always that guy, and that guy has won printing plates of just simple printing plates of Chris Carter for $150, $200.
Oh, that's wild. No, that's interesting to know though, because I've only really ever watched that play out with Goddard, but I imagine it must play out with a few other players too. Like
yeah, like you mentioned the Goddard, and right away I'm thinking about the Chris Carter. Like I don't own very many high end Chris Carter stuff because I just can't ever beat this one dude,
I've seen some cool Chris Carter game use stuff on eBay. There was an unparalleled one that was up there for a long time. I don't know, it might still be up there. Does your end say poor connection? Mine says poor connection.
Yeah, actually you've been frozen for a little while, so yeah, I think we'll bring this episode to a close.
Okay.
Yeah, we froze just a little while ago, so yeah, well, that'll bring episode 86, Friday Night Lights, conversation with Finn at Soulbrothacards on Instagram. Check him out. Awesome page. Awesome guy, man. We love having him on. That'll bring it to a close.
Soulbrotha and Skol Brothers out.